So Jimmy, so my wife was telling me the other day how she liked specific like episodes that I do in the past. And you remember the show that we used to do when Marvin was on? Marvin Hodges?
Oh, what we had Harry, Marvin,
Yes.
the whole crew.
Yes, we got to start that back. We got to bring that back because I remember we used to do that all the time. And what was this back? Um, was it 14,
2018
2014, something
or
like that?
that long?
The pod has been around a long time. Yeah.
I don't know why, but damn, I didn't think it was that far back.
I started the actual first episode of the podcast that's been through a many RSS feeds, but that's why I'm still trying to recover my back catalog. But yes, the podcast has been around since late 2012 in some iteration. Um, but my wife was telling me, yeah, get Marvin back on the show. He's full. I'm like, he is.
We
But
all know that we got to put explicit content on it. Very explicit content.
well, the reason why she said that, or one of the reasons why, is because there's a lot of this. You can't say that. You can't say this these days, and because of the whole Dave Chappelle thing, I've had I had to revisit this topic about cancel culture a lot. Cancel culture, we got to fight against that shit. That is the fight of 2021 and onwards. But Marvin would just say whatever the hell comes to his like he had Tourette's or something. But it was fun.
He's like the Cedric of the barbershop.
Oh man. Yes. Yeah. We gotta bring the crew back, man. Uh, that was man, we used to do that at night.
Yup.
I think during that night, right?
Yeah, it
Or
was
was it
always
in the morning? It was
about
at
8,
night.
9 o'clock at night.
And we were a little bit saucy.
Some of us
We
had
had
more than others.
huh?
I said some of us had more than others.
Well, judge ye not. Well, Marvin wasn't even drinking, but he's just crazy as hell. I think he was the
Uh,
only sober one.
yeah, he was the only sober one, probably.
Yeah, I guarantee that. I know I was drinking probably vodka and cranberry. I, I I recall the glass, the color of the glass. So I'm pretty sure it was that either that or Crown or cranberry. One of the two. One of the two. Had to be Crown. Can be anything else. But yeah, those are oh man. I gotta look back in my back catalog. Maybe oh, man. Yeah, the show has been around forever, dude. So what you been up to? You've been watching the Braves games and stuff like that. Aren't you a Braves fan?
I watched not really, but I root for him. I'm a Yankees fan early,
Oh well, yeah,
but
yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
so I watched like 1 or 2 games, but I haven't really caught all of them. Been too busy at work and
Yeah,
all that kind of good stuff. You know how that is.
yeah, I do. Has work been steady for you, increasing? Like how has the pandemic treated your business? Because you have your own business.
It's treated my business good. I mean, if you're a multimillionaire, you sign contracts every day. That's how that good at my business are. All
Oh
these big
shit.
houses.
Oh, so you're doing straight up construction type stuff, and you do the main electrical, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, man. So
we're talking about like 6,000, 8,000 square foot houses. They go up all
damn.
all the time on Daniel Island.
Oh, well, they like to pay. Oh man. Oh, so you're doing great. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. We haven't slowed down any.
That's good. Even with the kind of slowdown with the wood supply chain and all that stuff,
It did.
metal, and it
I
didn't
could
slow you down.
the wood supply chain, but like I said, they always sign the contract. Whatever the price they give them to build a house, they sign the contract.
Oh, that's what's up. Oh, that's good.
We got one coming out. I heard it's going to take 2 years to do. It's going to be 15,000 square feet, and the total project for like 10.5 million.
Damn. That's wow. How long does it usually take you to finish a project?
All depends. Probably a year and a half. Only
And you have to do the electrical while they're doing like the framing and all that, right?
yeah, because they got so much detail in the woodwork and all that stuff.
Wow. We gotta pimp the name of your business. I don't even. What's the name of your business anyway?
For the electrical side is Bemco Incorporated.
Yeah, we gotta pimp that. Pimp that. Pimp that.
Oh,
Although you
we
probably
too
won't
damn
need
busy
it.
right now. We can't pimp no more.
Well, that is a good problem to have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. That is awesome. I always am asking everybody. 'Cause I know we caught up back in May. We did a podcast back in May, but life has just been so, you know, hectic. Mostly for the good this year, though. But it's hard to keep up with what's going on. I always ask, like, how does the pandemic affect you? How was it affecting you? Did you have any type of um thing in your family with COVID that happened? I know I did. There's a lot of
Yeah.
people that dropped.
I had a cousin pass away about a month ago from it.
Wow. Yeah, I had an aunt that maybe a little over a month. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, she went into the hospital almost a week, and then she just kept on getting worse and worse.
Damn. One of my one of the guests I had on for the Pitmaster podcast, Ben Bowman. I ain't gonna tell his business, but yeah, he's recovering. Thank goodness. I don't know. Did they did you I don't want it's okay if you don't answer this, but it's okay. It's okay if you don't, because I know it's personal. But did you take the vaccine yet?
No, I have not.
Okay. All right. All right.
I'm still
Yeah.
waiting. A lot of people keep on asking me, there's no side effects from the shot, but they don't know that yet.
Yeah, they don't know. And I have a testing background and I know version one of stuff. You don't get enough data to say if it's a win-win or not, you know?
Yeah, they
It-
don't know that yet still.
yeah.
But I know if you get the shot, you still could get it, but it
Yeah.
helps the intensity of it.
It does. Well, uh, the I think the unfortunate what I want to say, the unfortunate exception to that rule was Colin Powell, but he cancer and something else. And this cancer treatment was the one that technically made his immune system so low that even though he was vaccinated, it didn't matter. Um, you know, it didn't protect him enough because of the side effects of his treatments. Yeah, but it is definitely supposed to increase your chances of not being hospitalized and all that stuff. But again, we don't know what the true nature of the long term effects are. I don't know. You listen to any type of media, they can sway you either way what to believe. So
Oh, yeah.
it's
You can
crazy.
always persuade somebody to believe this way, then another person going to come and bring you back to the right.
That's right. And nobody's right these days. Nobody's right.
That's very true.
It's the world we live in. Nobody is right. Everybody is like, you're wrong. You're wrong. No, you're wrong. But nobody says who's right.
At the end of the day, they both damn wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody has an agenda, you know? All right, let's get started. So, um, we're gonna go live in a minute. Well, we're actually already live, but we're gonna start the podcast in a minute. I'm gonna put you on mute while I do the intro, and I'll bring you in. Um, so it's not awkward when you start talking. I'll probably just say, I'll ask you a question like how you been, and that's when you come in. So you're not talking too early before I take you off mute, because that has been an issue before. Just saying. I did not give that type of direction before, but I'm gonna start doing that. Okay, you ready, buddy?
Yep, I'm all for it.
All right. As we do always before we start the show, I have to tell you something. There's a snake in my boot. What's up, everyone? This is Charlie Maverick, and you are now tuned in to another Backyard Pitmaster podcast. I'm your host and the Pitmaster of Maverick Barbecue. This show is brought to you by StreamYard and the great folks over at the Maverick Podcast Network. Hey, how you doing? Happy Sunday, fun day. You know what's going on. We're getting ready for football games. We're recovering from, the Braves win last night. Some of y'all are happy. Some of y'all are not so happy, but you're here with us today, and we thank you. We're going to have some fun, talk about everything live fire. I have a long-term guest host and was co-host at some point of the Mavcast podcast, but the first time to the Pitmaster podcast. Now, you know him better as Jimbo Banks, but I like to call him a brother from another muddy. You know what I'm talking about? How you been, Jimmy? And how's the world around you?
I've been doing real good. The world is good around me too. Always
That's
work.
good.
You know how that goes.
Yeah. 2021 is almost over.
Oh yeah, went by so. It goes by so fast.
It does. It always feels like as soon as you get past Labor Day, it's like a downhill slope, you know?
Oh yeah, it ain't a downhill slope. It's a big slope.
It's like a avalanche.
That's
time. And once you hit Halloween, which is quickly approaching us, then you're like, oh man, I probably waited too long to order those Christmas presents. Oh crap, I gotta go look for a turkey. Oh man. Well, what are we gonna do about New Year's? Don't know. Gotta figure out your travel plan. Your time off from work. Speaking of work, how is life treating you in terms of business and the whole atmosphere of the pandemic?
Well, it never stopped. I'm always worked. I worked through the whole thing, 6 days a week.
What type of business do you have?
I'm a part owner of an electrical company and a owner of a low voltage company doing surround sounds, TVs, all that kind of good stuff. Security cameras.
That's dope. So the podcast, so the pandemic, I mean, has not slowed the progress of your production at all. It probably accelerated it, didn't it? Uh-oh. I think we lost you, Jimmy.
I'm back. My phone had a phone call.
Oh. Yeah.
But I'm back now.
Yeah, you might want to put that on Do Not Disturb. But the pandemic didn't slow down your production, did it? It probably accelerated it, increased it.
Yeah, it did increase it because all the customers that we mainly do is millionaires, so they didn't want the house built today, not tomorrow.
That's true. And I thought kind of like things would slow down because of the supply chain issue that's haunting everyone in some aspect of life. I know people are waiting for furniture like back order for like another year. crazy. But has it slowed down the production of what you do? Because you put the electrical in while they're building the frame, so it's basically the speed of the completion is depending about the whole project being going along at a certain time, right?
Yeah. Normally your houses usually take anywhere from 6 months to a year and a half. To all depends on what's all in detail in the plans and everything.
Wow. Well, it's good that the business is doing well. You're located in Charleston, South Carolina. What's the name of? I know you. I'm not. You told me in the pre-show that you guys are too busy, but just in case, for future reference, if somebody wants to hire you for a job, um, while they're
Electrical
built,
side is
yeah,
Bemco Incorporated,
okay.
and the low voltage side is Jimbo Electronics.
Jimbo Electronics, yeah, man. You put in some lighting for Harry, our friend.
Yeah.
Do good work, man. I like that. I need to figure out how I'm going to do lights in the kitchen. I'm not sure if we're going to sell anytime soon. We're trying to see how the market goes, but definitely be
Oh,
in touch.
it's definitely a time to sell if you want to sell.
But the buy the price is high as well. So
Oh
does it?
yes, but believe me, you would get more for your house now, and you will have enough money to buy the other house.
Oh, hold on. Let me pack up my things then. Hold on. let me get my shit ready to go.
All depends on what kind of house you have. I see bidding wars on these houses sometimes.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I think everything is in a selling type of mood. If you sell your used car and it's probably what used to be worth like 5,000, you might get maybe over 10. I've seen that in some cases. This is weird.
Oh yeah, used cars market right now is off the chain too because a lot of people ain't buying new cars because they can't get a new car.
Right. Because there's that chip shortage.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm waiting to long term get an electrical car. I want that. I saw this truck. I forgot the name of the company, but
Or
they were partially owned by Ford and Amazon. It was a business they invested in. I gotta send you the video for that. I watched it yesterday. That is the dopest truck that I've seen. Better than the Cybertruck too, because you don't look like an idiot driving it.
all that I still don't like about the electric cars, they the battery life don't last too long if you get in traffic.
That's true. And the other thing is the whole grid that they were supposed to set up at a certain rate, but they didn't. And you still have, I mean, you have that whole Volkswagen thing about the EPA. They were supposed to invest in a whole bunch of Electrify America type of electric places to charge your car. I always wonder, like the big oil companies, soon you're going to have to figure out how to get out the game because fossil fuels will fade away at certain points. Maybe not for commercial or whatever, but you would think that they would try to get some charging stations at their gas station just so they can pull in the business and add on a restaurant. Like some of them country um gas stations have like a Wendy's attached to it or some type of restaurant.
Yeah, you talking about like the pallets, the trucking station ones.
Yeah. And I'm like, why don't y'all see opportunity here and just have at least like two charging stations right there while people just get something to eat. You can drive business to the convenience store. I think that's a missed opportunity, man, because you see the charging stations in some weird ass places like a restaurant that you be like, I thank you for forcing me to sit down at your restaurant that I wasn't really that hungry. you know this hipster place where you gotta do some yoga. I don't want to do no yoga. I don't want to do no yoga while I wait. It's just this dumb. Or Walmart that has the gas stations, or somebody like that has a gas station in a big ass store right by it. Why don't you just have that there? Let them come in and shop. Best Buy does this. I seen it at Best Buy, so they're smart because you've been Best Buy for a long time because nobody wants to help you.
Nope. They go the opposite way.
They see you coming like, oh shit, it's almost time for my break.
Nope. It is time for my break.
I know how they feel because I worked in food service before, and I'm like, just just about 5 minutes before your break, you always get that person that's long winded and act like they don't know what the hell they came there for. And then you like, it just threw off my whole day, man. I was hungry. I was about to get me a honey bun, and damn,
That's
now I can't
that's
get a
when you
honey bun.
say, this fool in electronics needs some help. Fool in electronics needs some help.
It's loud all over the intercom.
No, the private radios. You know what I mean? They all got them down to the stores, like the electronic stores.
Oh yeah, that is right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
Who
not talking
started
about
that? Old Navy or the Gap? Like they were not that big to be having walkie talkies, but I get it.
like Walmart customer assistant in electronics. Damn.
Yeah, nobody's in electronics. That pisses me off, dude. Like every time I go to Walmart and Walmart, I know what I'm coming to get. So just have somebody at the register. I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, I need something out the cage because they just think people are like stealing all this random stuff. You still got to make it out the door, stupid asses. But I gotta stand there for like 15 minutes. I gotta ask somebody that passes by in a Walmart vest that doesn't have a key to anything and know anything about electronics. This is weird. Just pass by and they're lingering there. So like, hey, can you help me with this thing? They're like, oh, I don't work in this department. Let me go find somebody. And you know when they go in the back, oh shit, it's gonna
They
be a
going
good 10 minutes before they come out because they might use that excuse to like, well, it's time for me to go on break. If I can't find them, I gotta try to help them.
and plus two with Walmart, you got about 900 security cameras you got to get past before you can steal anything.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, just leave it. Put the thing on the damn shelf, man. Like, come on, come on, Walmart. The video games. I think we're past that point where, hey, if you're gonna have shoplifters, you're gonna have shoplifters. Take it as a you got insurance. Take it as loss. I can't deal with that shit. I just can't deal with it. But so Jimmy, I'm glad you're on the podcast. It's been a long time since May that you've been on the podcast network, but you're a first timer to the Backyard Pitmaster podcast. What made you want to start grilling? And when did you start grilling? Was that at a young age? Did you see somebody in your family grill? Did you see something on TV? What got you into the whole rite of passage of live fire cooking?
I needed to eat.
Stupid. What age did you have this realization that you need to eat?
Oh, that's gonna be sound stupid. I never really was into cooking, but last couple, like 3 or 4 years.
3 4 years? That's not bad. I mean, hey, better late than never. But what'd you start off cooking first?
Steaks.
It had to be steaks. America's
Oh yeah,
love. The 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 I
ribeye.
think the steak. I think the steak is the main reason why people get grills. Cause I'm thinking like just if you want burgers and hot dogs, you got all these indoor appliances that get you almost there. And you know, you can put some liquid smoke on there if you're adventurous. I hate that shit. Um, but steaks, that's where you draw a line. Like, I need that grill flavor with the steak. And you said ribeye is your favorite cut.
Yes.
What type of ribeye?
Bone out.
Bone out. So it has to be a thick cut, I assume.
Of course.
All right. How you cook it? What temperature do you like it at? Do you like it medium rare, rare?
I prefer medium rare.
So that's about 130ish, I believe, right?
I think so. Yes.
So how'd you get to the point where you were good at achieving your target temperature and not going over or under?
By pressing on the meat, because when you're and the rare and medium rare is more tender, I think it is,
Hmm.
or it's more squishier.
Yeah, it's squishy. Yeah.
Yeah. If you go, you can tell the difference between medium and
Hold
well
on.
done.
Hold on. You you press on the squishy part.
You can see like the more of you can tell when the I don't know. That's how I can tell by just pressing on it. Really.
Well, I mean, yeah, that is the technical. Chefs would just press in the middle to see how what the firmness is, because the further along in the temp you get, the more firm it's going to be. To your
Yes.
point, yeah. So I was being funny, but that is how you do it. Me. I'm so like anal retentive. I got to use a meat probe. I try to eyeball it sometimes. Indoor is a little bit easier. Like if I use a griddle, I can just time the flip. I can say, oh, I need to be to this temperature. I'll keep it this side for like 3 minutes. I'll keep it this side for this duration of time. Keep flipping it or whatever. And I usually do it with like thinner cuts. But if it's a thick meat, yeah, I don't want to mess that one up, because more than likely, of course, because it's larger, it's going to cost more money. And especially in the climate that we live at today, I don't know about you, but it's hard to find a nice ribeye that isn't like out of your threshold of like, man, do I really want to get this?
Well,
Like,
yeah.
price too high. Can I tell you a story real quick, Jimmy?
Go ahead, Buck.
So I was in Walmart the other week and I was looking for a thick cut ribeye, preferably a cowboy ribeye. Um, and I noticed something, Walmart. Maybe because of the time of day it was, but I doubt it, because it usually doesn't matter. But they had no steaks. Okay, they had two steaks, and they were really thin ribeyes, maybe the size of the inner part of your palm, like the main part of your hand, like the palm. But it was just as flat as your palm, maybe thinner. And I tell you, there were only two packets. They were on the top shelf. And that doesn't mean that's the best, but it was on the top shelf, and it was priced at $30. I said, F no, I'm going to another store.
Yep, because ribeye right now is like $19 a pound, I think.
It used to be about 12, 13 for a good size. And it was kind of like an impulse buy. You're like, oh man, get me a treat. But now it's like it's going on that edge of, I don't know. I don't know. Is it worth it? Should I do it? Now, if you got a whole crowd of people, it's definitely going to creep up to be really expensive. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
I don't know. You're going to have to get some thin cuts out of this. I hate to take this cut and go all the way down to really thin. And I'm like, well, unless I flip it real quick, it's going to be overdone. I hate thin steaks because the margin of error is a lot less. And I don't like steak like that, but if I have to eat steak, I want it to be medium in the middle. And to get that and to enjoy it, I really like to have the majority of it to be medium. So I want a thicker cut. And the thin shit doesn't work. It just doesn't do it doesn't it's not my
We
jam.
we ain't making a ribeye sandwich.
No. Although although if
That,
you have some leftover thick cut ribeye that you didn't eat, that is a great repurpose for it though. Or tacos. You gotta say,
yeah.
you put some chimichurri on top of that. I'm just saying. Oof. Side note, Harry made a chimichurri marinade on a flank steak that brought over during the summer. Oh my god. Oh my god. If you haven't had chimichurri before, look it up on YouTube. Change your life. It smells a little funky at first, but holy shit. It will change your life. It's actually healthy for you, aside from all the oil that you put in. I don't know. Yeah, but it's a good use for a leftovers. But I wouldn't make, no. I'm not buying a thin steak just for the purpose of overcooking it. We just got to sacrifice and do something different. Which
That's right.
led me to the whole thing about finding an alternative for steak. So I went into the store and I saw some pork products, and pork has gone up and down over time. I know at Costco You get the 3 pack of baby back ribs that usually cost you like maybe $25, cost you like $65 now. Crazy shit. But I'm like, hey, there's this thing called pork steaks that I like. Have you ever had a pork steak?
No.
Let me tell you about a pork steak, man. I'm about to sell you on this just in case. And this is not going to be a substitute for beef steak. I just want to preface that. But if you like, if you like pork and that's your jam, this is a great way to get a lot of that pulled pork flavor into a steak like texture. I'll tell you how to do it. Are you ready for this, Jimmy? Are you ready for this?
Oh yeah, I'm ready for it.
I don't think I talked about this on the podcast before, but so pork steak. I've been trying pork steak out for a minute, a hot minute, because I thought, this is a cut of a pork shoulder, really, really good intermuscular tissue, really good stuff, which translates into a lot of flavor and a lot of tenderness if you cook it right. And you can't cook it quick because a lot of intermuscular tissue means, you just got to take your time with it. You want to make sure you optimize the tenderness. You don't want to cook this really fast and then you're like, it's chewy. You don't want to do that. So what I did was I found a pack of pork steaks, pretty good price, about $13 for a pack of 4. Good price for this day and age. And I didn't do any trimming to it. It looked perfect. It's hard to get a bad pork steak cut because it comes from, the pork shoulder. Every cut's good. It has the little bit of, I don't know, people maybe not know what the money muscle is, but a lot of competition cooks talk about the money muscle, and that's what the part is that, that is the defining point, the great part of that cut of meat. So I tried to cook it like a pork shoulder. Stay with me here, because you're cooking like a steak, like a pork shoulder, because you got to do that low and slow, right? Just you can't rush a pork shoulder to get pulled pork. At least you can't rush it, so you got to take your time. This is going to be an easy concept. So I did real easy. Didn't have to make it complicated at all. People don't have to make it complicated at all. I took some seasoned salt, pepper, and garlic powder, granulated garlic, and just seasoned it with that. No binder at all. Didn't need it. The moisture was enough on the surface. Didn't need a binder. Let it rest while I brought up the grill. And this is where I talk about my new product that I tried out. So it takes a long time to start a grill, right? The charcoal grill. You use gas grill. Doesn't take that long to get the temperature, maybe like 5 minutes. So you made a comment that you don't like charcoal grills in the pre-show because it takes a long time, right?
That's right.
Yeah, you don't got time to do that because you're busy. You come home after a hard day of work and you don't want to sit and wait for like 20 minutes, 25 minutes for the grill to heat up with charcoal. Cool. So I got this thing that looks like a hair dryer. And before you like, oh, Charlie, using the hair dryer on the charcoal grill, but here it is. So it's electro, and it's an electro torch. You plug it into the outlet. Has a nice outdoor cord. Get an extension cord, plug it into your electricity, and you turn it on the first speed. And that one blows like, I think it's close to 1,000 degrees of heat, and it lights up your coal like real quick. Then all I did was I turned it on the second setting, which blows hot air, and within 5 minutes, I was up to the temperature that I wanted to be at, which was 275. All right, cool. So I also put on some wood pellets using a smoke tube. That's the thing I want to do, getting smoke into it, because what I found out, there was temperature swings and a little bit too much smoke being applied to thinner cuts of meat. But if I use big wood chunks, right? Don't want to do that. So I did that. Then I put it on the grill, and it probably took maybe about 2 hours to get to the color that I wanted to get to. And you want to cook it kind of like ribs, or basically like a pork, but you want to get that color first. The color is what matters. You want a good bark, because if you eat a steak, what do you want? What do you want on a steak? Like if you pay good money on a steak, there's two things you want. You want to get cooked to temperature, and you want a good crust on it, right?
That's right.
But you don't cook this pork steak like a beef steak. You cook it like a pork butt. So to get that good crust on it, you're trying to get a a a kind of the texture of it if you were doing pulled pork. You want to get that type of little firm texture on your meat. And how you find that out is if you can run your finger across the surface. Just run your finger and none of the seasoning moves. And it is a nice mahogany color. It's time to wrap it, which is what you would do if you do ribs or pork butt. This is really easy, right? It's a real easy concept. What I did this time around, which I didn't do, is I used the mop sauce that I used on my pulled chicken, which I'll talk about in the next episode. That is going to be about getting ready for Turkey Day, because that technique is transferable because it's poultry. But I used the mop sauce, and the mop sauce that I used comprised of a few things: apple cider vinegar, onion, which is sautéed, almost caramelized, but not caramelized yet, some thyme, a little bit of Carolina Gold seasoning, barbecue sauce. And that's for the sweet. Now the opposite of the sweet, I wanted the heat to balance out everything. So I took one of those. I don't know. Have you ever seen the pepper sauce? I think
Yes.
it has peppers in it. It's in a jar, but it's filled with vinegar.
Mm-hmm.
So I took that, but I didn't use the pepper sauce itself. I used the peppers that were in it. Put like 3 or 4 in it. And I don't know if you ever did that before. And people, if you've never used the peppers inside the pepper sauce jar, change your life. You got to watch out because it is spicy if you cook with it, but change your life. So I cooked this down, added water, of course, to dilute it. I cooked this down for about 30 minutes, and this was the leftover of that. And I put a little bit on the foil, or the bottom of the foil, because I'm going to wrap it. You can use it with butcher paper, whatever you want to use. Put a little bit on there to retain that moisture, help everything, kind of steam in there and get to the tenderness that you want. I had a little bit of the leftover onions in there, so I put it on top, just a few of them, not all of them, and wrapped it up real tight, like made it like a pocket. So you want to have the sides folded in, kind of like if you were to wrap a gift, like a Christmas gift. There's a technique to that. So basically, you pull in the sides first, like the long ways. So the width of the meat, you're going to fold in first, and then on the edges, you roll that up. So what you're going to do with that later? This is how you check for doneness without unwrapping the whole thing, and the meat meaning to like lose all the juice. Or if you want to let it rest, you can transfer the stuff and the juice won't fall out. So you got your little boat that's covered, right? Let that go on the barbecue for about an hour. That's all you need. So maybe like 2.5 hours, close to 3 hours. This will take you from start to finish. Let it sit, let it rest for a good hour or so, maybe 2 hours, as long as you can, it'll be fine. I took it off. And Jimmy, let me tell you, I wait till the next day to try to get this stuff, tasted. I want to let it rest and let all the juices like redistribute inside of it and let it, just get happy in the fridge. You take it out. You ever had leftover turkey? Of course you have, right?
Of course.
Sometimes that leftover turkey that you pull out the next day after eating from Thanksgiving is better than the day you cooked it, right?
Uh-huh. Of course.
Has a chance to get all those flavors back into it. Get happy. They're building a family, and there are flavors for your mouth. And you take it out. You just got to heat it up a little bit. And dude, I'm telling you, this was the best pork steak that I've ever done. You got to cook it exactly like you would ribs or a pork butt. And for the price that you save on it versus steak right now, that's a good alternative. As long as you like pork, you gotta like pork though. I don't know. You gotta like
That's
pork.
you there. You got the light pork.
You gotta like pork. There's a lot of people that don't like pork. I don't knock you. I don't knock you. Those are for health and religious regions. Hey, who am I to say that you're wrong? Maybe I'm wrong. I'm living
No,
wrong.
I
If
wouldn't mark it, but If I see a pig walk across my lawn, I'm definitely cutting his throat.
Well, damn, that's kind of violent, Jimmy. But as long as
I got to kill the thing somehow. That's the
you,
quickest way.
that's true. Hey, there's a zombie apocalypse coming. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's coming. So
Head only.
you're gonna have to get ready to butcher your own meat, like kill it and butcher it. It's gonna happen.
Like I said, headshots only.
Headshots only. I thought you were gonna cut the neck, man. I thought you were gonna go for the neck.
Yeah, I'm cutting his head off.
But headshots. You go. All right. So you're going
Head
to
fall off.
shoot in the head first,
Uh-huh.
to slow it down because you ain't trying to chase a pig.
Hell no. I'm too old and fat for that now.
You you're early 40s, man. Shut up.
I'm older than you.
So that don't mean anything. You acting like you in your 80s or something.
I feel like it sometimes.
Yeah. I won't debate that. I got random aches and pains. Sometimes, like, what did I do to deserve that pain right there? I don't think I did anything. I think I slept right. I think I turned my body. My whole shoulders feeling like somebody just hit me with a bat. Yeah, I'm not saying this happened, but could you imagine if somebody like hit you with one of those aluminum bats, but it didn't dislocate your shoulder, but it really fucked it up and with pain, like really bad. That's when I'm like, yeah. I wake up and I'm like, how did this shit happen? How did that happen? I don't know. Life is weird. But
Yeah.
I feel your pain. Not really, but I understand. I understand where you're coming from. So you like the tailgate?
Yeah, I like to go to them.
You've been to a couple of college tailgates, because
Yeah,
you're a Clemson fan.
Yeah.
What type of things do they have out at the tailgate?
Oh man, you can find anything that you want at that tailgate.
What's the craziest thing you saw out there?
I think I heard somebody was roasting the alligator.
Ooh, that actually sounds great. I've been
No,
wanting to do that.
it sounded pretty good, but I didn't try it.
Yeah, I've had alligator before.
Oh,
It tastes like
alligator,
chicken.
especially the tail.
Yeah. So is the tail the only thing you can eat, or can you eat
No,
other parts?
you can eat everything. It's you got. I've seen people just like everything. They barbecue it, make hamburger patties, anything you can think of.
Well, I've had elk. I've had. I've been meaning to have emu. You ever had emu?
No.
I saw that on one of the Travel Channel shows, and I'm like, that's interesting. Emu. It's a bird, but it's red meat. Hmm. And they
But
treat it like steak.
most of these exotic animals is more leaner than beef,
That is
so it's
true.
more healthier.
Yeah, but
Like,
could you imagine all those import costs?
oh yeah, you got that. Not yeah, emu. Yeah, probably not deer, alligator, rabbit. I mean, we got all that in the United States.
Did you know what an emu was before the Liberty Mutual commercials came out? Like who out there knew what an emu was, first of all? Like, there's a 50-50 chance you're lying. But like leave a message on Anchor or send a message to me on social media at Charlie Maverick. Just say, hey, I knew what emu was before the Liberty Mutual commercial. I'm probably gonna call you a liar, but I'll give you the benefit of the doubt a little bit, depending on who it was. If I feel like you're lying, because you can tell when some people haven't been experienced to some shit, because they don't
Oh,
know nothing else about what was on TV, but they knew about nothing else with life. They don't know who the president is. I don't know how you do that. But they knew what an emo was. Come on, who you
they live
fooling?
beneath the rock.
Right? They're asking like, hey, um, who was the first president of the United States? Um,
I don't know, but I know what an
Tom
emu.
Sawyer. You know the what?
An emu.
You don't know goddamn emo. It's like the Jay Leno people on the street. They're like, Hey, do you know this? Seemed like an intelligent person because they're a teacher. They don't know shit.
Nope.
It'll be funny if there's a like a science teacher that is asked on a quiz or something,
How did?
and
No, we can't say that during the show. Shut up, Jamie. Jimmy. We about to teach everybody how to do illegal stuff. No, we ain't gonna do that here. Even though
but
one rapper pretty much put it up on one of his intros in his album.
oh well, yeah, we won't touch on that. but but wouldn't it be weird if the teacher didn't know what an emu was and they teach science class?
Then they not a teacher.
I'm like, yeah. So if you knew what an emu was before the Liberty Mutual commercial, I commend you because that's a very obscure thing to know. Because I only know it by watching the Travel Network. Just that one time I saw it on a food show. I think it was Bizarre Foods because it was considered as bizarre. And I'm like, oh, they kind of look like an ostrich, kind of shorter. Um, oh, it looks like red meat. No one should know that universally what an emu is and how the meat content looks, more like beef than anything else. Nobody should randomly know that, But I'm just saying, if you didn't know that before the commercial, I commend you on knowing random shit. You probably should go on Jeopardy. I don't know. You might get that right. That might be the daily double. Who knows?
I
Oh,
swear you put off of Jeopardy because you got to know a little bit more than what that is.
yeah. That mean, hey, maybe they got Jeopardy Junior or something. Low level Jeopardy. Play the game on mobile. If you get past that, you're right for Jeopardy. Maybe you got a good point. You got a good point there, Jimmy. You got a good point. You might get $100,
Or
but you go
negative.
into deficit with everything else. So, how important do you feel it is to prep your meat?
It's one of the most important things you got to do is prep the meat. Make sure everything's nice and clean cut and not too fatty.
Does it take you more time to prep than it does to cook?
Not really, no.
So you worked out a system. I'm thinking to where you can start to finish in the most efficient time, to where it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah, I mean, when you get in that groove, you know what to do.
Yeah, I like to do my prep as early as possible, so I can decide if I need to do a marinade or brine. I don't know. Do you use marinades or brines?
I use marinade. I never use a brine.
So here's a part of a very important part of prepping to know when to do either or. So brining, I didn't used to do brining for a long time, but I'm used to marinades because marinades are popular. They come pre bottled, pre bagged. You know, they have maybe some dry season that you just got to put some a little bit of water in. You use salad dressing. Has that a I mean, Italian dressing is a good marinade for chicken. Just use that. It'll break down and tenderize it, and you get the good seasoning out of it. A lot of people do that. But brining is something that I think is used maybe too often or in the wrong context. And I'll talk about this more when on the podcast for getting ready for Turkey Day. But people think they need to brine everything like a turkey, which turkey, I'll just put out there. Spoiler alert: you don't need to brine turkey because most of the time it comes pre-brine in that bag. It even says it. It's in the solution. There you go. All right. Anyway, but brining is something that I like to use when I'm mainly doing poultry. Um, and it's usually for chicken, not turkey. It's for the fact that I want to get as much salt content in there that I can get, um, because I know that if I just season it on the surface, it's usually going to go on top of the skin, and skin it's not going to penetrate through the skin most of the time. So you got to figure out a way to get the flavor inside of the meat, past the whole thing. Now you can use a marinade, that's fine, but let's say if you're going to just smoke the chicken long, to smoke it, you don't want to marinate on there because of the sugar content. This is mainly salt content. And you can use it if you're frying stuff too. You brine your chicken before you fry it. You brine before you bake it. You brine before you grill it. Do all that. You do it with turkey breast because turkey breast, the thing that it does for turkey breast, and it's more beneficial for the can't talk today, more beneficial for the white meat versus the dark meat because turkey breast is known to dry out a lot faster and easier, low margin of error, right? Um, so what you do with the brine is you put mostly salt in there, and then you can wash it off later, depending on how much salt content you're going to apply to it throughout the course of the cook. Because you got to make sure you're not over salting everything. You got to figure it out over time. You're probably gonna fuck it up the first time, but you'll be okay later. Now, what you want to do is get that into a container that it can submerge in, just like a marinade. But you kind of want to do some aromatics in it, maybe some parsley, cilantro if you like cilantro, onion. You can add a little bit of citrus. You can add some. Some people add some sugar to it, like brown sugar or white sugar. Depends on what flavor profile you want to focus more towards to. So you can't really go wrong with the brine. Just like you usually, if you pick the right way to do a marinade, you can't go wrong with a marinade. Like, who doesn't like a marinade? Have you ever used a marinade that you didn't like?
No.
Yeah. I mean, well, it's going to give you the flavor that you. Nobody you packs a marinade out there unless it's like something that is maybe too spicy or too sugary for the person itself. But taste wise, it's going to give you predefined flavor. Now, what brining does more for is to give that break down that tenderness over time, where a marinade is to keep that flavor, give it more flavor. So you can't go for you can't substitute a brine. You can't substitute a marinade with a brine, but you can substitute a little bit a brine for a marinade. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
okay, so I wouldn't if you wanted to go for more flavor, and it was maybe like uh, uh, chicken tenderloins or something like that, pork tenderloin. I wouldn't brine that. I wouldn't do it at all unless you were definitely trying to not add any type of certain sauce like flavor to it, or you're gonna eventually cook it like it's going to burn. Maybe you want to brine it then, but that I don't know. You should be cooking it low and slow anyway, just to get the temperature. I wouldn't cook that hot and fast, but um, I would love doing that in terms of the marinade because it comes pre-marinated a lot of the times. That's a good thing to use it for. But if you're doing like a big cut of meat, a big cut of meat, like a whole chicken or a whole turkey that has not been in that solution already, I wouldn't marinate those big things. It's not going to get enough of the flavor, I think, penetrated in that you think it's going to. It will help, and it's not going to hurt, but it's going to not give you the salt content that you need to be pushed in there because it's too thick. It doesn't have the ability for the salt to break through, and that's what you really need. The salt. You can do dry brine too, without any liquid like water. But thing is, hey, you got to get flavor in there somewhere. So brining is easy to do. You just got to know when to do it and how long to do it. If you brine something for more than 24 hours, it might get mushy. You can marinate something for a couple of days and you're good. That's good. You're fine. As long as you keep the temperature in the refrigerator fine. You're good. You can put that marinade, you can take it in the cooler, you're fine. You brine something for more than a day, you're gonna hate yourself. Trust me, I know this. Trust me. Jimmy, do not put that brine in that thing. That thing in that brine. That thing in that brine. That brine in that thing. And walk away from it and forget about it. When you come back to it, you wonder why your chicken is mushy. Tastes like McDonald's chicken. You don't want that, Jimmy. You don't want that. So when it comes to grilling, have you ever had a flare up?
Not really. I always put my grill on low when I put everything on it.
So I had a flare up in the past. I had many flare ups. Um, and a lot of the times it was on a gas grill. A lot of the time. I was probably cooking chicken. More than likely cooking chicken.
Or a
Now,
ham.
yep. So what I found out, there is a good way to mitigate flare up. One thing I did find is you definitely got to clean your grill frequently. Because if you, let's say you cook chicken on there or steak or something and there's grease buildup, because when you cook stuff on the grill, it's going to go, the grease is going to go somewhere. Unless you know how to continuously catch it in a pan or something, it's going to build up grease somewhere. Residual grease, yes. Now, what happens is if you don't clean it, then that heat is going to put the kind of chemical compound to that grease that's left on that dirty grease. And then when that new grease is introduced, ooh, they're not happy. They don't get along too well. So the old grease is trying to kick the new grease out. So you get the flare up. It was like, get the hell out of my house. I was here first, you know? But if the old grease ain't in there, they can't kick the new grease out. They can't kick it out. You know what I mean? It sounds that's a weird analogy, but that's what I mean. So you got to make sure you actually clean your grill frequently before you use it again. And this is one of the reasons why I don't like propane grills because I'm lazy and I know I'm not going to clean it out enough to avoid a flare up. I never have, and I know my limitations. I probably won't. This is one reason also why I'm hesitant to get an offset or anything other than a kettle grill. I just know at some point I'm gonna be too lazy. So how often do you actually clean the inside of your like the heating elements and all that of your grill? Or do you just wait till it goes out and buy another one?
Wait till it goes out and buy another one.
See, that's the American way. A lot of people do that. And I think it's the fact that it's the work that you have to put into cleaning that thing. It's not fun. It is totally not fun. I don't know if you are, it depends on the person. If they are inclined to the talent to disassemble and assemble things back whenever they need to. Some people don't have that skill set. You know, they might be uncomfortable with taking the heating element off because there's a little pin there. Sometimes the pin breaks, you know, just because of the heat. Depends on how it's made. And then it doesn't matter. You try to go clean it like you try to do your due diligence. You go in, try to take stuff off so you can clean it. Pin breaks. You're like, shit. Or something goes out while you're trying to clean it. Like, shit, never doing this again. And when a burner goes out, of course, what you do also, you replace it. You replace the whole goddamn thing. So usually when
Or
people get to the
go
point
buy a
where
new
they're
grill.
getting flare ups, they go buy another grill. That's a terrible concept. I don't know why people do that. I get it though. It's a headache.
It's a lot easier.
It is a headache. That I don't know. And I think that's one thing that steered people away from doing like barbecue for a long time is flare ups and how you deal with them. So when you do encounter a flare up, we got 10 minutes left. When we do encounter a flare up, there's a couple of things that you can do with that.
A little water.
What you said, water?
Yeah.
This water, yeah. Now I wouldn't necessarily do that on a propane grill.
No, be taking out the propane. Then you gotta start the crap all over again.
I also wouldn't recommend the fire extinguisher. I wouldn't.
No.
But at some point, now here's the one thing. Now I say that now. Now, there is a concession to that depending on how bad that flare up is.
Or how bad the grill is on fire.
Exactly. Now, if that grill is on fire, you might have lost whatever's in there anyway, depending on
You,
how big that fire is.
you might as well go get the fire extinguisher, blow it on it, and go buy a new grill and start all over.
Yep. It, if you have a bad flare up, just charge it to the game. You just gotta, yeah. It's going to burn out. The components of it will probably burn out to the point it's not going to be functional anymore. And if you douse it with enough of the suppressing agent like water or the fire extinguisher, yeah, it might. I don't know. I don't know what it does to the parts. You just got to deal with it. But if I'm cooking on a kettle grill, and I had a couple of flare ups even when I had the grill clean because the fire just gets up so much. So it's not like a grease flare up, but it's an increase of temperature because of wind. Because the more oxygen you have,
More fire.
the and more intense the fire is. People in California know this. They
Oh
know
yeah,
this firsthand because of the fires that they have. So more
they,
oxygen, more fire.
they have a
So
fire.
what you hmm?
They have a fire out there once a month.
I don't know if they ever. I don't know if they're ever without a fire. I think I always think at some part of California is always burning. It's just that I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to say it's climate change, but somebody has to set those fires. I'm just saying.
You know, it ain't climate change over there. They always hold fire.
Somebody still flicking those cigarettes out, and poosh, it doesn't rain in Southern California. That's what Tony said. Understand? But how I stop one of those heat flare ups from just natural element type things. First thing, just shut down everything. Shut down the vents. You don't really have vents on a propane grill, so the vent usually is out the back. Cover that up if you can. I don't know how you do that, but you probably don't want to. Just charge to the game. But if you have a grill where you can shut down the vents, shut everything down. You probably lost everything. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe you didn't lose what you had on the grill. Maybe you want to take that off first. Have a heat resistant glove with no flammable sleeves or chemicals on your arm. Please don't do it because you'll be on fire then. You might have to end up putting water on this thing and starting all over again. That might be a thing. But most minor flare-ups can be doused if you just shut down all the oxygen. I don't know. I don't know if you ever experienced like the flames getting a little bit too high, and then as soon as you close the cover, it's all good. I see that all the time, especially with doing wood burning. Anytime the wood ignites and it gets too much oxygen, it will cause the charcoal to also flare up, and then you got a campfire. like, or you're cooking the chicken, and the grease is popping off the chicken, and then everybody was like, "Woo, bonfire!" Yeah, you almost get everything on fire. Don't have your grill too close to the house
Yep.
because you might catch that on fire, and you would be the person who's being made fun of
Do
on
I?
the neighborhood Facebook page when the fire department has to come out.
Or you put your vinyl siding on fire, or it starts to shrink because of the heat.
I was in an apartment once and I almost caught the whole building on fire. I could say that now. In electric grills, you think, oh, you won't have that problem. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It's got heat.
It has heat. There you go. They don't put that in, like, that's the kind of thing that they said in the, what was it? The contract. They're like, no charcoal or gas grills. I'm like, you didn't say nothing about electric. All right, here we go. Loophole. Whoosh. I was like, oh shit. We were right by trees too. And that time of year, the branches got kind of long and they were coming up right close to the edge of the porch. Oh man. If I didn't get out there, I had like less than 1 minute to get out there before shit just went all the way wrong. Mm.
Building
Got
caught on fire. The trees caught on fire.
Yeah, yeah. All that all that caught on fire. And it was your fault. Now Now, now you got to pay for all that somehow. You get kicked out of your apartment, even if they didn't burn down anything. You're like, well, you started a fire. They're not going to look past that, buddy. Just saying. So it was good having you on the show, man. So what's coming up next for you? What do you plan to grill soon? What are your plans for the holidays?
Right now they up in the air. I be traveling for the holidays mostly.
Oh, cool. Where are you going?
I hate the city, Columbia.
Oh, Columbia. It's not too far.
I know, but I just don't like going there.
Yeah, I don't like
Nothing.
Columbia either. Like something about Columbia. I'm not saying Columbia is a bad place,
I'm not either.
but
I just don't like it.
yeah, I don't like it either. Like when I have to drive between like back and forth from Atlanta to Charleston, I usually go through Columbia. And every time I drive to Columbia, I'm like, I haven't always felt this way either. So sorry if I offended somebody, but I'm like, ew. Something just don't feel right. You know? It don't sit right with my spirit. Something just like, how do I get out of here as quickly as possible? I always felt awkward every time I went to Columbia. Every time it's just like something is weird about this town. I just can't put my finger on it. Bad vibes. I'm like, as soon as I gas up, I'm out there. I'm out there like I'm outie like Kurt McGowdy. Oh, whatever his name is. I don't know. Yep. So what else you gonna grill coming up in the near future?
I don't know. I really haven't made any plans right now.
Well, when you do, share it with me, and we can talk about it on the next podcast. Tell people. So, are you going to try to do podcasting again? Because I know you had Jimbo's nose and all that going on, and you know you took a hiatus, maybe because or around the time that I did. So, are you planning on picking that back up?
I'm thinking about it, but all depends on how work goes. You know how that it always goes back to the work thing when people's schedules and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you're always welcome on the show. Keep cooking steak, because I'm sure you will.
Oh yeah, not gonna quit
Keep
doing that.
keep keep on keeping on with your business. I'm glad that you're doing well with that, and everything's turning out great. Hope you stay healthy, and you're always welcome to be on the podcast anytime. Just hit me up.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. And just in case you do start that podcast back up, how can people find you on social media?
Mostly on Instagram. I want to accept you on Facebook. I get too many requests on there. I don't even know the people. Instagram, Jimbo 29414.
Cool. Are you still on Twitter?
Yeah, it's the same handle for that one too.
Okay. We got to talk about The Walking Dead final season once the second half starts. So I will
Huh.
be having
I,
you on the Mavcast to talk about that.
this
That
let
means you
this
have to catch up.
that means I got their catch up.
That means you have to catch up. Yes, it does.
Yep.
I already know. You got to catch up. I haven't seen you tweet about it in a couple of years, so that tells me everything. All right, man. Thank you for coming on the show, and hope everyone has a great weekend and stay blessed and safe out there. I am going to close down the show with this hot track.
I don't wanna wait, I don't wanna sit.